Hello, hello. I am live, I think, and so give me a moment to check. There we are. Let me get the live stream set up. Let me get, oops. There we go. Waiting for Facebook to load. So I'm going to assume you're here. I'm going to assume you can hear me. We are talking about balance and boundaries today. And this is one of my favorite topics because balance and boundaries are critical to both your own well-being, but also good clinical care, right? Sometimes we don't think necessarily about how the decisions we make in our business are actually related to good client care. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. So I'm going to try and get to the live feed in Facebook so I can see who's here, and I can see comments as well. So let me open. And here we go. All right. Minimize. There's always so much setup here, and they don't let me set it up ahead of time because I can't get the custom stream to work. It's annoying. Anyway, thank you for bearing with me, and let's talk balance and boundaries. So why is balance important? I think all of us know that balance is important. We know that we're supposed to have balance. We want balance for our clients. We want balance for ourselves in our own life. But we struggle to create it. And especially as we establish a private practice, we struggle to create a practice that actually supports balance. And I think for a lot of us, we come out of agency work, working these crazy hours, seeing crazy caseloads, and we end up recreating something similar in our practice where we're working a lot of hours. We are not accounting for the things that we need. And then we end up feeling like really overwhelmed, really burnt out. And we're wondering like, oh my gosh, what happened? Private practice was supposed to be better, right? So today I'm going to present like this idea of how to do things differently. But before I do that, I think there's some of you in here that maybe don't know me or don't know my story. And so I'm going to take just a minute to give you guys a little backstory on how I came to this place, how balance particularly became really critical for me and my family. I'm a licensed therapist in Northern California, and I was in agency work. I had a small online practice. Yes, I was on BetterHelp. That's how I got started in online practice. But I had, before kids, I was able to do my agency work. I didn't need to get paid a lot, so it was okay. I really enjoyed the work that I was doing, actually, and it was a really good agency that I was working for. And then I had my small private practice on the side doing some online telehealth, which at the time was kind of like this new thing. People were kind of nervous about it. And then I had twins. I intended to go back to my agency job because they really were supportive, and I was looking forward to being able to supervise. I realized very quickly after I had my kids that wasn't going to be possible. One, I was suffering from postpartum rage and depression. And I also realized that after doing the math, I wouldn't take any money home. Paying for childcare for twins in California, it costs more than my mortgage. And I wasn't going to take any money home to go work almost full time. And where would I fit in, right? I knew that I needed to take care of myself in order to be able to take care of my kids, in order to be able to be okay. And I realized that while working, while paying for childcare, not making any money, there wouldn't be room for me. So I went into private practice, and I went into private practice a lot of the ways that a lot of people do. I schedule clients kind of all over the place. I try to fit it in between stuff with the kids and with the nanny and all that stuff, or with grandma care. And then I slid my scale all over the place just to get clients in because I was nervous about filling my caseload. Then I realized about a year in that my husband was killing himself to support me in doing that. He was working a full-time job as a police officer. He was a reservist in the military. He was working 70 plus hours a week, so that he could support our family. And he was subsidizing my ability to charge low rates in my practice. And that became very suddenly unsustainable. I realized that he was literally working himself to death. And he was on his way to either a heart attack or a stroke at some point in his life because of how he was working and the stress that he was under. So I made a radical decision and I increased my entire caseload to $200 a session. I did lose people, but I kept bringing people on. And I found myself about a year after that in a similar position where I had a twofold caseload. And yes, I was making good money, but I knew that I wanted to do something more. I wanted to bring this coaching to you guys. I wanted to, give in this other way to the therapeutic community because I was watching my friends burn out. And I didn't want to keep watching my friends burn out. So I took a leap and I set my fee at $350. And I got clients. And yes, I had done the marketing work. I had done the work to get to a point where my marketing could support that, which honestly was a bit of a surprise to me because it was a bit of a leap of faith. Today, about half of my caseload pays that rate. And I've been able to reduce my caseload and increase my income. I've been able to bring a free community to you, run that free community and offer free content. And so, for me, the reason that balance is so important is that it has enabled me to, one, take care of myself, take care of my family, give back in a way that feels good and aligned for me, and still make an income that supports my goals and my needs, my family's needs. And so, I think it is possible to do this. I know it's possible. It's going to look different for everybody. How I achieve balance is not the same way you're going to achieve balance. My life circumstances are different than yours. And so balance is going to be personalized. We cannot build the same business as our neighbor, just like I said yesterday, or as our friend. We have to build a business that is ours. And we're going to talk today about how balance and boundaries fits into that equation. Now, getting into the idea of a 40-hour work week and how we structure our work. The 40-hour work week is predicated on the notion that there is somebody at home to take care of things, that men would go to work and women would stay at home and take care of things. And that is not the reality of our life. And it hasn't been for a long time. And so the 40-hour work week needs to be busted and dismantled. When you own your own business, you have the opportunity to do that. As a therapist, we know that when you are well, your clinical care is better. When you are well, you are able to show up better for yourself, for your family, for your clients. And so as far as I'm concerned, self-care is part of our work. Just like our notes, just like our admin, just like our marketing, just like seeing a client, our self-care is part of our work. It is not negotiable. It is a mandate. It is necessary. Now, I want to be clear, I'm not throwing judgment at all. This is not a judgment, right? If you are overworked, if you are struggling, if you are feeling burnt out, this is not a judgment on you. This is just to say that I want better for you. I want to help everyone break out of a broken system that is not serving you, that is burning therapists out, that is causing people to leave the field, and we can't keep losing you. Now, I'm big on this idea of confronting reality, and there is a reality to life. There are only so many hours in a day. There are only so many things that we can fit on our calendar. There's only so much emotional and energetic bandwidth that any of us have any given day, and that fluctuates and that changes, and it's different for everybody. So again, how I balance things and how you balance things are going to be different. So if we're comparing ourselves to other people and what they're capable of doing or what they do on a regular basis, we are also not going to achieve balance, or we're going to feel like something's wrong with us. And there's nothing wrong with you. If your max is 3 clients a day, or if it's 8 clients a day, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just different. So how do we think about accounting for these realities, right? Your reality consists of the circumstances of your life, whether you have kids or not, whether you have a partner or not, whether you do trauma work or you do eating disorder work or you do whatever work you do, the circumstances of your life, how much support you have. If you're part of a marginalized group, right, the circumstances of your life are going to dictate certain things about your life, and that's going to influence your business decisions. And those business decisions are going to influence your clinical work and your care and your quality of care. Again, not a judgment, just an observation that we need to be making as clinicians. Who we are as a business owner, as a person, and as a therapist are inextricable. They cannot be picked apart. They impact each other. So when we confront our reality, we are able to start making decisions about the priorities of our business and our time in a way that supports our well-being. And that might not be perfect, right? So when I first had my twins, the way I wanted my life to go and the way it needed to go were very different. And I had to confront the reality that what I wanted was different than what needed to happen. And so it's not that we're going to create this like rainbows and flowers picture of our life right now, especially if we're up against something that's very like restricting, like twins. It's that we are going to get honest and real about the circumstances of our life, the good, the bad, the indifferent, and we're going to structure a business around that. I call this life first design. So we're going to look at your life first, and then we're going to look at your business second. That's usually we do it the other way around. We do our business and we fit our life around that. But as therapists, we are doing emotionally intensive work. And again, our self-care impacts our ability to do that work. It has a significant correlative impact on the level of clinical care we're able to give. Not to mention how we show up outside of our work. And so when we are looking at the reality of that, we are going to account for all of the things in your work week so that you are taking care of yourself. Now, how do we do this, right? I like to map it. I like to map it on paper. So in your worksheet, you are going to have one sheet where you're going to list out all of the things where you take care of yourself, all of the things that are non-negotiable, and all the things you need to do for your job, for your work. And then you're going to put it on paper. Now, I like to start with self-care first. This is the life first design. This is the part where we build in the self-care, because if it's not built in, it's not going to happen. So when we build the self-care in, we map it on the calendar first. And when we do that, we know that we are taking care of, that we are going to be better at showing up later. And it's not that we have a perfect schedule every week. It's that we set up this guideline system, right? Having boundaries around our time and around our business and around ourselves isn't about being rigid. It's about saying, okay, this is what I'd like it to look like. This is my goal. These are my guidelines. And so if my guideline is I don't like to see more than 4 people a day, I'm going to map that in. If one of my guidelines is that I go to the gym every morning after I drop my kids off from school, I map that in. And then everything else gets mapped around that. Now, I might flex my boundaries once in a while. Right now, I'm part of a group coaching program, and it meets on Monday mornings after I drop my kids off from school. So I remapped my Monday. This is the part about flexible boundaries, is that we can come back and reassess. We can reassess when things change. We can remap it. We get to make the decision. You are your own boss, right? When you are in private practice, you're your own boss. And so you get to decide when those boundaries change and how they change and why they change. If we come back to day one, we talk about those values-driven decisions. That why is this important? Why is it important that I'm going to go to a workout on, every morning after I drop my kids off? Well, it's important because after that, I'm more calm, I'm more stable, I'm more able to handle whatever the day throws at me. It's also because I know if I wait till the end of the day, I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be like, tomorrow. Right? I have a tendency to do that. I know that about myself. And so I have built in the workout at a time that I know I'm going to be most accountable to it, because I know it's the thing that keeps me well. When you have it mapped out on paper, it gives you a guideline to base your decisions on, base your flexibility on. And you're going to flex sometimes, right? Sometimes I might see a 5th person and then I'm reminded, right, that's why I don't do it. Right? You're going to remind yourself periodically when you cross your own boundaries that that's why I hold that boundary. That's why I have that boundary. And so it's okay if you do that, right? It's okay that sometimes you make a decision that crosses your boundary and it reminds you. There's just reminders, not things to kick yourself about. But having this mapped out gives you, again, a guideline, gives you a guideline. As I said, self-care is client care. And I absolutely 100% believe it needs to be built in. So the first thing you map out is your self-care. You map your self-care out on your weekly calendar, your ideal schedule. Actually, no, I take that back. First, your non-negotiables. First, you map your non-negotiables because those can't be moved, right? I have to drop my kids off in the morning and I have to pick them up. I am the primary picker-upper and dropper-offer. That is my role. And so that goes in first. Other non-negotiables go in as well. I consider having lunch break a non-negotiable. I need it. I have to eat. And so I map that in as a non-negotiable. Then I go to my self-care and I map in my self-care. After that, that's when I look at my business. And I'm not just looking at clients, right? I think sometimes we look at all the space we have and we're like, oh, I can put all these clients in there and look at all that. Look at how many clients I can see. But even that neglects continuing education, administrative work, emails, notes, marketing and networking, all of the other business activities that come with running your own business and being your own boss. Business development, even like creating new stuff. If you have this idea to create a group, you're going to need space to create it and then to run it. But you're also going to need space to keep creating. And so making sure that you have things like creation space and then catch-up time. It's always good to have some catch-up time, which leads me to this next idea of buffering. Something that I see a lot of my clients, my coaching clients, not build into their practice is buffer time. And buffer time is the thing that accounts for the unknown and the unknowable. Especially if you have kids, you know that life happens, right? Kids get sick, you get sick, then they get sick again. Someone needs to get picked up early from school. You need to cancel or reschedule a day of clients, that kind of stuff. And this can happen whether you have kids or not, right? There is a certain ebb and flow to life where things happen. And if we are trying to live every week at our max capacity, then, and we account for that to meet our goals, then when the unknown and the unknowable happens, we are going to feel very bombarded. We're going to feel really overwhelmed with what we need to do to deal with that. Thank you. I'm back. So I want you to also build in buffer. If that means that you want to see 20 to 25 clients a week, maybe do it on like a 20 client week. Because you're going to have cancellations, you're going to have reschedules, you're going to have openings in your schedule for a few weeks. You're going to need to cancel a day of clients. You're going to need to reschedule somebody. Have buffer time built into your calendar in a way that accounts for the fluctuations and the shit that happens in life, so that when it does happen, you're like, oh, I planned for this. Yeah, it might be stressful, but I planned for this. This is part of the plan of my business to have buffer time in. Maybe something's going to take longer than you expected, or you had a client emergency. Your buffer time accounts for that. Now, only you know your life and only you know how much buffer time that you want to create. But I know that I create buffer time each day and each week in a way that allows me to account for those things, the spillover, the unknown. Okay, so we've kind of hit like the main points here. You define your non-negotiables, you map them out on your calendar. You define your self-care that needs to happen on a regular basis. You map that into your calendar. Then you go and you look at your clients and you look at your business activities and you map that on your calendar, accounting for buffer time. Once you have that mapped out, that gives you an idea of the boundaries that you want to hold in your business in terms of your policies, your scheduling, and as we're going to talk about next, on Thursday, your fees. Doing this calendar will tell you what you need to charge on average in order to have this schedule work. Now, when we get there, it might feel, excuse me, sorry. When we get there, it might feel a little overwhelming. It might feel a little bit unreachable, or you might calculate the number and be like, oh, it's totally doable, right? It's different for everyone. And what I want to say is that this is a process, right? I'm not saying that you do this schedule and you map it out, and then tomorrow you have to start it. When you map this schedule out, this is just a guideline of where you're headed. I know you can get there. The question is, what steps do you need to take to get there on what timeline? And what changes are you able to make in what order to get there? So when you map out this ideal week, depending on how close or how far you are from it, I want you to think about it as a goal that you're going to work towards over time. And my ask today is that you come into the group after you've done this, and I want you to tell me what is one thing that you can do, that you can start doing, that is going to get you closer to that ideal schedule. What is the one thing that you can change or do or implement that is going to bring more balance into your life? Okay. Let me know if you have questions. Yeah. All right. So quick and easy. There we are. Come in the group. Let me know what you discover. Let me know if you have questions, and I'll be in here to answer them. Thanks for coming today. I look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday. We're going to talk about money and fees. We're going to do math. We're going to calculate some numbers, and we're going to confront some money stories and narratives. I'll see you then. Bye.